you have to go back to identity. What identity have these individuals created in their mind that got them to the point that they did? Daystar, bro, became a $1 billion organization with a B, fam, a B.
Anyway, I believe that once our story came out, I was so naive. I believed I didn't think there were two sides to a story. I thought there was one side, the truth. And that included everyone's faults. It's just the truth. Well, our story comes out, and then there's a whole other side which we never dreamed possible. And there's lies, and there's bad comments and attacks. After all we endured, I was like, God, now you're going to put us through this? And I remember being on the phone with Julie and Jonathan in the late hours of the night, and her literally felt like just taking us on her wing and telling us this is a war, but I'm with you, and people are standing with you and constantly saying you're not alone. And those are the things I'll never forget about Julie Roy. So I don't care what any pastor or any person who has had any, I've noticed the pastors that seem to have an opinion about Julie, they always say, oh, we have information, but they have nothing. They'll never ever tell you anything.
Wow.
Hey, we're back at it again with the Daystar saga. Suzy and Jonathan went to the Restore 2025 conference.
With Julie Royce, the pastor's number one enemy.
Yo! Like and subscribe before we start this show.
If you want to be the vibe, and tell the people why we ain't been recording in case they want to think it's because of me.
All right. So Larry had his time, and now it's my time. I was setting up another investment property as a short-term rental, or most people refer to it as Airbnb, but it's on other platforms. And it took me forever. And I'm very much hands-on, so it took a lot of time. So I postponed a couple of the shows. But I will say, Larry didn't want to burn the midnight oil.
Bruh. This Negro talking about midnight oil when I got a whole baby.
That's where babies sleep.
Bruh.
Or babies be up. Either way, you could have jumped on and recorded. Because you had the baby when we did our last one that was late night.
Listen, Jeremiah will not be a featured guest on this podcast, bruh.
He gonna be popping up. But all right, let's get to it, man. Welcome to people.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Level Up with Larry and Leo, where we turn trials and opportunities and dreams into reality. My name is Larry, and this is the hands-on, no Diddy brother of mine, Brother Leo.
Yo, somebody needs to put, when you say the welcome tag, put the Busta Rhymes right next to it.
Well, a little bit more update. So we finally crossed 1,000. Thank you everybody for subscribing, and we've been doing a lot of brainstorming. So even though we haven't been recording, we have been chopping it up, thinking about how we want to.
Thank you guys.
How we want to do with this podcast and with this channel, the direction we want to go to, and we'll have a separate video for that in the future to let you guys know what our plans are there. But just stay glued in. We definitely want to give y'all the content that you're looking for. And we've been looking in the comments, and I think we have an idea of the direction, and we can't wait to
give the people what they want. Got to give the people what they
all right,
want.
man. So let's dive into this step in the Daystar saga. So Jonathan and Suzy, they both pull up to the Restore conference with Julie Royce, and from what I know about this conference, it's really designed around helping churches and church victims basically come to it. It's meant to give church leaders awareness around those who have been abused, specifically in the church, and resources on how to help those who have been abused, how to prevent people from being abused, et cetera, which I think is dope. I think it's necessary. I think that there have been so many things, especially recently that have come out in church circles around the area of abuse that really needs to be. We can't just shove it under the rug anymore. And now with technology the way it is, you can't really just be the gatekeeper of narratives anymore. So it's best to address some of these issues because we want churches to be safe, bro. Like, it can't be places where folks can just go and get abused.
Yep, and then the abuser gets protected. That's a big issue right there. But here's what I take from their short introduction, bro. They were really, really like in a bubble. To feel like you're gonna say something and it not elicit a response, like even if the response is false, to think that people will be like, "Oh, you got me. All right, you got me. Yeah. I messed up. I lied. I tried to control. I did this. Yeah, you got me." Mm-hmm. Come on. To some people, if you ain't lying, you ain't trying. Hey, you gotta know that, and you should have you experienced that off rip. You knew that happened because they lied about several things. Mm-hmm. One of them is the essay of your daughter, basically saying it never happened. And then they lied about you being on sabbatical when you were obviously told, no, you're on leave. You're placed on leave. Like, come on, man. You know, like, that, I gotta say, is naivete at its finest.
One thing that Suzy said that really stuck out to me was when she mentioned how she gave her side of the story, and then they came out with a complete. She was like, "I didn't know there were two sides."
Yeah, I'm like, come on.
What do you mean? There's not two sides to a story? That's really naive. But when she said a completely different side of the story, which I didn't even think was possible, that said a couple of things to me. One, I think it shows that Daystar really went left when they came out with the opposite side, the opposite thing that they said. Like, they really stretched their lies really strong. But also, I think it caught them off guard. They didn't think that they would go to the extent that they did to protect Daystar. I think that really had them shook. Like, dang, we got y'all putting us under the bus like this. Wow.
Hey, sometimes when you getting beat up and beat down, sometimes you just gotta stand up and fight. Hey,
we are not sponsored by that hoodie, by the way.
You gotta fight. All right. And the reason why I say they're in a bubble is because if you've been in any kind of corporate setting, or if you've been in the world, it don't matter if you're telling the truth, because people will tell you, no, that's my truth. And if you believe it enough, in the words of George from Seinfeld, if you believe it enough, it's not a lie. And you have to know that somebody's going to come out with something contrary to what you experience, because you experienced something involving your daughter that was real, that you expressed, that you went through the right channels to get it resolved, and it was swept under the rug. Like, I still see like a lot of trust, which is good. It's not a bad thing. A lot of trust, a lot of reliance, a lot of saying, yo, these people are looking to God always, and they're not looking to protect themselves. And I'm gonna tell you, the organization is too big to fail right now. So they gonna hide some stuff. They gonna push some stuff aside. They gonna straight out lie. They gonna keep people silent to keep it going.
That's the lesson I think they really learned in this process. The extent when you're in an organization like this, it's a unique thing when you're talking about like a church-like organization and the business and thing. Like, I don't know if the same way, like if your sons took over your real estate business or whatever, the way you would handle that is different from is what it seems like these religious organizations the leaders would handle theirs. Because I guess what ends up happening is your identity begins to get wrapped up with your ministry. So when Joni Lamb began, it seems like at some point Joni, her identity got wrapped up in Daystar, where when there seemed to be consider like there was a threat, so to speak, against Daystar, and against it, she not only is trying to protect Daystar, but she's trying to protect her identity because she has no identity outside of there. And I think also that's the reason why she usurped the position from Jonathan in the first place.
That's a good point, bro.
Because what else would she do outside of being the first lady of Daystar or the queen of Daystar? What else? What she had not figured out what her identity is outside of that. And I think that's why we see a lot of these things happen the way they do, where people will literally destroy any and everybody they can to keep their position. Like one figure that we that many people even in our chat will know about that is involved in this Daystar saga is the guy Stephen Perry, some prophet guy or something, Prophet Perry or whatever. And he's kind of he has a network on Daystar, and there was an audio that got leaked. We might actually need to do a separate video about him, because there was a leaked audio where he was being addressed about messing with another guy's wife. But he actually he did an audio, like a video, basically shaming anybody that's coming against Daystar, saying that God's gonna judge them and all that crap. But they found another audio of him being confronted from the lady's husband, and all these people saying, "Yo, you was like, I seen the text message, bro. Like, I see what you did." And this is how crazy it was, bro. Under the pressure from all of these allegations, he literally threatened to kill himself.
Oh gosh!
If he loses his ministry, he literally, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that. We might have to, or delete himself in order to keep his. He said, if I can't keep my ministry, I'm gonna go back to that cabin and I'm gonna myself,
because there's no identity outside of your position. Like, your identity isn't in Christ, it's in your position. That's wild.
But that is what ends up happening. That's the underbelly of what I think a lot of this is. And I don't think that when you're in a case like Daystar, you're thinking in like Jonathan and Suzy, you're just thinking, hey, this is my mom and this is my mother-in-law and this happened to my child and all of these things. And I'm expecting them to care for us and look out for us. We've always been a family. We've always been a tight knit. And what you did not realize when you brought these allegations out, that you were actually coming against an organization that has wrapped your parents with its tentacles and told them that that is who they are and they can be nothing outside of it.
That's wild. That's
And
bro.
when you are dealing with an individual, and I have personally encountered individuals who have their identity wrapped up in their religious position, and I can say emphatically, you can't trust those people, bro.
Because they'll do anything to keep it.
You can't. No matter how nice they are, no matter how much you care about them, no matter how much the affection you have towards them in terms of a relational, like you care about that person, you don't want to see what that person would do to keep their position and their in order to keep their appearance or their reputation, because at certain points their reputation means more than their family does, means more than the people that they're actually leading. The way other people speak about them, the wealth, the power, the connection, all of those things, it becomes such a it's an intoxicating situation that they are literally high off of, and I don't know how to get them unhigh.
Yeah, bro.
Because when you have, I'm sorry, like I'm on this. When and I honestly believe that when you hear these people say, God told me, it's the God that they created. It's the God that they created. They have left Jesus, and there is a new God that is on their heart that speaks to them, that affirms this narrative they have created in their minds.
You cooking, bro?
That they literally believe if they lose this, that they are nothing and they rather die than ever lose it, what God has given to them.
That's wild. And I would even say, I would even ask the question, did God give it to them, or did they go and get it?
And that is an amazing question that I think is worth investigation. Was this what God really said? Or have we simply been creating a narrative that continues to develop upon itself? And whenever I'm in a bind, God said,
yeah. Bro, it's either that or submission. My goodness. That you cooked right there, bro. Having your identity wrapped in your position. And I know it happens outside of church too, because athletes will say similar things like, I've always been this football player. I've always been a basketball player. And some of them, after they retire, they have extreme depression. Like they're not good to be around. And they don't know what to do or how to be outside of what they've done all this time.
And consider this. This is... I didn't know this was going to come, bro. It just came. No, think about this. We all... I hear preachers and other people mention this a lot in their commentary or whatever. When you hear rappers, when they're receiving a reward, what do they say? I want to give glory to God. Mm-hmm. He gave... And honestly, I don't think it's much different than a lot of these preachers. Because you're caught up in the content of what they're doing. But the drive and the level of discipline and work ethic that it takes to create a platinum album is similar to what the drive and the discipline that it takes to build a mega church.
To build a church, period. Because you
and to get to that point. So like what I'm saying is with a lot of these cases, because you have to go back to identity. What identity have these individuals created in their mind that got them to the point that they did? Daystar, bro, became a $1 billion organization with a B, fam, a B. You know how hard that is? And the level of sacrifice that it took to get there? Can you imagine? That is insane. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to build $1 million agency and it stresses me out. $1 billion, I couldn't even fathom. The stress, the work ethic, the sacrifice that it took. And I cannot help but imagine that identity began to get interwoven with that process. Like, I am him. I am her.
And who are they to question me?
That is what, and I don't think anyone really talks about that.
Bro, I can't do any more than agree. And if you don't do it with a soberness, because it takes, you know me, man, I'm always going to be balanced. And it sucks to get into the minutia. It takes that level of belief to build something like that. Like, what I'm bringing to the market is really above and beyond what others are bringing to the market. Like, the word that's on my heart, the television platform that I'm building, the church that I'm planting, like, you have to kind of believe that. But if you believe that is you instead of that is what you're doing
I think
to honor God, then that's when you mess up.
That's the difficult part, is separating your identity from the thing that you're building.
Your mission, yeah.
That, I think, is very difficult, and it's really rare to find people who are able to do that. That is a rare type of human, because we're not even really given the resources on how to do that, right?
Yeah. So
what I think Jonathan and Suzy learned in this process is what they thought they were a part of, they had no idea what it really was. And they got hit in the face with your attack. Because when you hear Joni speak, when the camera is off, when she thinks nobody, you can tell you're not just fighting against Daystar, you're fighting against her identity and who she is and the way in which she lives in this world. And if she loses that, she loses everything. No one else matters. I don't care about my grandkids. I don't care about you. I don't care about Noah. In fact, I don't even care about myself. And that's the depravity that this type of thing has produced. And from everyone else's perspective, I heard this fairly recently. They say, smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. And foolish people never learn at all.
That's weird, dude.
So
Go ahead.
you have like from Jonathan and Suzy, and really all of us, because we are all susceptible to this level of depravity. And I think that is extremely important for everyone to realize. I am not above this type of behavior. I am not. And no one is. And what we have to say is, how do I ensure that this does not become me? Because at the end of the day, Joni one day is going to have to look at her life and look at this chapter with sober eyes, because eventually all of the adrenaline goes away and you are left with ashes, and you have to realize what you were really fighting for, and you have to realize what you were willing to give up, and you have to look at that with sober eyes and then see, dang, look at the destruction that I created.
Yep. When you can look back and see that it's just you, Dougie, and
Stuck with Doug,
and you know,
Who is
limited
no
access
help,
to your
probably.
to your grandkids, and you know, possible resentment from your kids. But I mean, Rachel's still going to be around because I think Rachel's positioning herself to take over, but that's a different episode.
Can you imagine, bro? Can you imagine Rachel and what's his name? What's the dude's name again?
The alleged Steve. Put it in the comments. I can't remember. They allege him to be Pete. They allege him to be Pete.
Josh
Brown. Yeah.
Joshua. Can you imagine those characters leading Daystar?
Wee! Bruh. If you stayed with us this long, you watched the video, click like, subscribe, comment. Let's have the discussion down below. We putting that live show together, man. We're gonna touch on a couple topics. We're gonna do a nice little live show. We're gonna put in when it's gonna be, and we want you to check in, man. Just come hang with us. All right, have some sweet tea, okay, and let's vibe.
Sweet tea is wild. Hey, y'all, we love you guys. We appreciate y'all checking in with us, and hey, let's keep it going. Let's keep riding, and we'll see what happens. Y'all be good.
Till next time.
Peace.